and choosing the texture. There's all these different options for textures here. I believe I just use the Blizzard default one, I'm pretty sure. I haven't ever changed that. But yeah, you can just pretty much have icons, or you can have casting bars for yourself, your focus, your target, and it just makes it a lot easier to see who's casting what. And that's pretty much why I use Quartz. It's a really good casting bar. The other options are like e-casting bar. I can't really think of anything else than Quartz and e-casting bar for casting bar add-ons. XPearl has its own arcane bar, but I don't think anybody really uses that for the cast bar. That's about it for Quartz. Just toggle this bar lock again, and everything's gone. You can still see the cast bar here. And if you set a focus, like that, it'll show the cast bar right there too. That's just where I have it set up. But yeah, that's pretty much Quartz. It's a casting bar add-on. It's pretty nice. Right now into my scrolling combat text, and it's just called scrolling combat text. And to get into it, the options, type /set space menu. That brings it up. This is the event tab. All these checked here will show in specific frames. For example, damage is shown in the animation frame 1. So when I take damage, it shows in the I believe the left side. And when I do heal, actually, pretty sure it's the other way around. When I take damage, it shows up on the right. When I do heals here, it shows up in animation frame 2, which is on the left of my character. Frames tab right here has the font set to Frizz Quadrata TT, and these are my options I have set here. It's set to, the animation type is set to vertical, normal, and it's scroll text down. And as you can see in the background here, I have SET, the first frame down here to the right, and the left frame, which is SET2, is to the left of my character. And I have these set up like this so that when I take damage, it goes down the right side of my screen, and when I do healing, it goes down the left side of my screen. And on this tab, you can just decide to show things like overhealing, HOTS, and you can choose whether or not to disable the WoW healing. I like to leave that on, so I can see the healing number over the person I heal's head also. The animation tab lets you speed up and slow down how fast the text goes. I have mine set to pretty slow, because I don't want it to just fly down the screen too fast, and the text movement distance pretty much as small as possible. And it allows the text to be pretty easy to see. You can see your heals. On the left side of my screen, you can see my heals. They're not moving too fast. They're also not moving too slow. So your screen won't really get spammed with them unless you're like raiding and spamming holy lights with the holy light glyph. But to solve problems where you're seeing too many things, you go to the bottom part here where it says healer filter. You set the minimum to 500, so any heal under 500 doesn't even show up on your screen. And I also set the mana filter to 100, so it doesn't show blessing and wisdom ticks, and the damage filter to 100, so you don't see, like, when, for example, a level 1 boar is attacking you, you can't see that damage spam your screen. And that's pretty much all I have set up for my scrolling combat text. I pretty much just have it so damage is on the right, healing's on the left, and buff gains and everything are above my character. That's pretty much scrolling combat text. Now on to my pretty much favorite add-on ever made, called Spell Alerter. And to get into this, you type /SA. Pretty simple. And what it does is it shows the enemies casting spells. You push the test button, that's where it pops up. It even plays a noise like that. That's where it'll show up when, for example, if someone's casting a fear, it'll show up right there. And you can go into the spell list here and add spells that you want to see or hear. For example, on fear, I have it set to the color red, and it plays the sound. I don't know what sound it has specifically, but it definitely has a sound set to it. And you can go through other spells. For example, freezing arrow. When somebody uses freezing arrow, it plays this rubber ducky noise. When someone uses a freezing trap, it plays this noise. If I hear that noise, I know to use freedom. And here another example is when someone uses polymorph. it plays a little zing or something. It plays a little noise, and when I hear that noise, that means use Hand of Sacrifice, you know, something like that. I hear Psychic Scream. Whenever someone uses Psychic Scream, I hear that. And that means that someone feared. So I know that's down. I don't. So it allows me not to have to watch the characters all the time. I can just play by ear, really. And here, Pummel, along with every single interrupt and counterspell in the game, I have set to play this sound.
You will die.
After I hear "You Will Die" by Cthulhu, I know that someone tried to interrupt, and I am able to free cast. And see here, Spell Lock also has "You Will Die." Strangulate also has "You Will Die." And here, Summon Gargoyle has its own sound. I believe it's a Fel Nova. Yeah, it plays a Fel Nova, and when I hear the Fel Nova, I know to use Turn Evil. And yeah, Speller is pretty much just an amazing add-on because it just pretty much plays sounds and shows on your screen when players are casting spells. Like when a warlock's using Immolate, it'll show Immolate right in the middle of your screen, and just right there like that, it'll just show Immolate right there, and you know to cleanse it as it lands. So Spell Loader is a very, very helpful add-on, especially as a paladin. Lets you see spells as they're being cast, rather than having to watch a little cast bar. You just see the icon for the spell, and it makes the game a lot easier, really. And that's why I use it, because it's just a great add-on. I'll just very quickly go over TinyTip. All TinyTip does is it shows the tooltip for someone on your mouse. As you see here, this priest is showing up on my mouse rather than at the bottom right of the screen. And that's pretty much all that's for. I kind of got used to using this. I've been using this add-on since like 2005, where it just seems weird to me if an icon's to the bottom right. So I've always just had it show up right on my mouse. That's pretty much it for TinyTip. There's other add-ons just like it, like TipTac, but I definitely prefer to use TinyTip, even though it hasn't been updated in like 3 years. It still works. And finally, the last add-on I use that's gigantic for a play here. It's called XPearl, and it's unit frames, as you see here. My unit frame at the top left is completely different than the default one. And to bring up the options, you just click on this pearl that's on your mini-map, and it brings it up like that. And you can pretty much just drag these icons around, or these unit frames around, and put them wherever you want. This is how I usually have them set up. With the party to the left, raid frames in the middle of the screen like this. It's a little messed up because this is on the tournament realm, and it kind of XPearl likes to move stuff around when you're loading it on different characters. And it's also really, really great because it'll fade out unit frames, and you can set how it fades at the bottom here with the rangefinder. It's enabled and it's set to the spell Holy Light, so it's anybody outside of 40 yards is faded to about 40% opacity on their unit frame, so I know who's in range of me and who's not. And okay, let's see. It has 3D portraits. As you can see, my character's moving in the portrait. On the party tab, this is a pretty big thing here. I like to uncheck this party debuffs below members. That'll put the party debuffs to the right of the members, because I see a lot of people that use XPearl that don't have that unchecked. So what happens is when they get debuffs on their partners, it puts the debuffs below the frame and it covers up their next partner, so they can't even see the health bar on it. So to turn that off, you just uncheck this thing right here, where it says party debuffs below members. Just uncheck that. And for target of target, you have to enable the target's target, which is this third one here, and that'll let you see your target, who your target's target is targeting. And sometimes that helps to let you know preemptively if they're switching. For example, if you're targeting your warrior and he's targeting a priest, a shadow priest, and that shadow priest isn't targeting your warrior and they're targeting your other teammate, you know that they're switching on to that other teammate right away. Okay, what else here for XPearl? Right here in the middle of the screen, a lot of people don't have this on for some reason. Where it says buff cooldown, you need to have that checked and the all button checked. That makes it so spells, like for example here, you see how Blessing of Wisdom has a timer on it? And let's see here. Sacred Shield, how it has a timer, and you can see the background slowly fading If you don't have that checked, you just see the default icon, I believe. Yeah, you just see the default icon and you don't see a duration on it. And to see the duration, you just gotta check both these. And you know how long things like Immolate last, or how long a Frost Nova lasts. If you have like a 1-second Frost Nova, you know not to dispel it, rather than just not being able to tell. If you don't have these checked, it'll just be like this. So check that, and it'll show the duration. The numbers are on here, I believe, because I use the add-on called Omni Cooldown Count, and it works along with XPearl and shows the numbers. Like any unit frames here, XPearl has its pet frame. It's right there below the character. I don't have any pets as a paladin, so I don't really need it to be set up correctly because I don't ever have a pet. And you can set the focus up right here like this. You just go to the focus tab and just set a focus like that. And for example, mine's right under my target's target, and my focus target's right above that. And that's just a really easy place to see because it's right next to your target. You can see its casting bar. See, notice how the casting bar for it is right below. Allows me to see like when a druid's cycloning. If I have a druid set to focus, I can see his cast bar right here in the middle of the screen, and I know to either line of sight or just try to interrupt it. Also, another huge thing about XPearl is that on your target you can have a thing called big buffs, and that makes it so your buffs are bigger than everybody else's buffs. And I know that sounds kind of dumb and all, but it makes it much easier to see your buffs. As you can see here, this is the default size, and yours are about 4 times as big. And that makes it so like if your Blessing of Kings falls off, you'll be able to see that gigantic icon is missing, so you know to rebuff a Blessing of Kings. And yeah, a lot of like default interface, it doesn't have that. That's why I really like using XPearl, because it shows the big buffs. Other things like nerfed unit frames, they don't show that. So yeah, that's why I like to use XPearl over the other ones, because it has the big buffs, and it even has big debuffs. The default unit frames have slightly bigger debuffs, but with XPearl you can really tell if it's your debuff on somebody or not, and that's just really beneficial to let you know what's happening. And winning arenas is really all about being aware of everything, and this big buff lets you do that. And that's about it for pretty much all my add-ons. And you can see that I'm using. I left out some of the ones that don't affect PvP at all whatsoever. But yeah, that's pretty much all my add-ons and how to set them up and what they do.